School. Stay with us.
Achieving success as a startup not only depends on the business knowledge you have, but also the networks one is connected to. When starting a business, it is important to develop professional and social contacts with mentors and other innovators, but oftentimes the education institutions are left out of the circle. The academia can play a crucial role in the ecosystem, and we speak to Dr. Henrietta Onwe-Buzie, Director of MBA Programs at the Lagos Business School, on the relevance of academia to the startup ecosystem.
Henrietta, glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Thank you, Fred, for having me.
All right, let's start by having your thoughts on your take on the tech ecosystem today.
So the tech ecosystem is definitely growing. In fact, the whole world is going tech. And so everybody needs to key in. We don't have a choice anymore. And that's exactly what we're trying to do at the LBS with the MBA program, ensure that we help tech people understand that for you to run a sustainable business, you need to combine tech and business management knowledge. But that's a space that is doing amazing things. We're proud of them. So far, we have about 4 at least, and I think there are 2 more upcoming unicorns in the tech space in Nigeria. Nigeria proudly has the highest number of unicorns in all of Africa. So it's something that we want to be a part of to ensure that they don't just get there, but that they remain there and keep growing.
So again, this is where we sort of have this conversation, right? For a lot of the people in tech, they sort of, in most cases, feel that they don't need the conventional business education. What's your take?
So it's not about business education. The point is, when you're in tech, you're running a business. And like everything else in life, you need to learn how to do that, okay? There's a business side to everything. It's either you get someone else to manage the business for you while you focus on the tech part, but it's an inevitable part of whatever anybody's doing, especially if that's how you also hope to earn a living. Obviously, ultimately, tech is there to, help society operate better.
Maybe there is some stats that you may want to share around how sort of business knowledge and education has helped tech, whether it's Nigeria or international companies do better. Is there anyone you want to share?
Yeah, so the first unicorn in Nigeria is InterSwitch. And InterSwitch, the founder of InterSwitch happens to be one of our MBA alumnus, Michel Elegbe. In fact, we were actually in the same MBA class in 2002. And with every MBA session, Michel was working with Telnet at the time. And he had this idea to bring ATMs to Nigeria. And in those days, it was like, are you crazy? Nigeria is not right for this. In fact, it can't be in Africa. This is something you only see when you travel, okay? Practically nobody believed that Nigeria could safely operate ATMs. Oh, they would hack it open, oh, it would be dangerous. As you leave it, somebody will steal from you and all of that. And he was dogged about it. I literally saw Michel build InterSwitch with every class on the MBA program. But yes, there was a beginning, and you could clearly see that though Michel was a techie, being on the MBA program helped him to become who he is today. And the story of InterSwitch is one of Nigeria's biggest successes. As I said before, InterSwitch is the first unicorn in Nigeria.
But going into the mindset of the younger techies, because it's a reality, right? The younger techies, may not buy what you just said now, but like, how do you want to pass the message across that, business education is important to building a tech startup today?
So incidentally, I've actually just finished training about 150 of them in the last 2 months. Okay, typically LBS trains executives, but then we have the regular MBA program, which is for people who have at least 3 years post-graduation work experience. And I think they get it, okay? And I've done this for quite a while. I've also spoken at some of the tech conferences where I help them understand that, to start with, tech will only be successful when it is applied with a purpose. So you've got to be purpose-driven. Tech for tech makes no sense to anybody. You've got to have an application for your tech. Is it to make payments safer? So for instance, there's a Nigerian tech guy in fintech that's trying to ensure that as the African Continental Free Trade Zone agreement is in operation, we don't need the dollar as a medium of exchange. If I'm in Ghana, I can go from Naira to Cedi. If I'm in Rwanda, I can go from Naira to Rwandan shillings. Now that will do a whole lot for Africa and begin to reduce the dominance and control that the dollar has over the world, including Africa. Okay, that's an amazing thing. We've seen how Paga has made it possible for people without bank accounts to still execute payments. So the first thing is tech. It's important for techpreneurs to have a sense of purpose. Now, the next thing to understand is that, hey, there's a business around what you're doing. Okay, if you do tech without the business side of it, then you starve, because you need to understand who your target markets are, how to get to them. The fact that you're beginning to get traction, if people want to demand your products, means you can't do everything on your own. You need to bring people in. How do you bring them in? How do you manage them? Okay, and then how do you watch for trends? Because it's all good to have something that works, but you also have to understand the business around it. Even if you get people who understand that for you, if you are totally blank on that, then you are more vulnerable to being left in the cold. Should there be an argument, okay, or whatever? But you should have an idea of what it takes so you're balanced.
A number of reports have said that female-run businesses, whether in the tech ecosystem or generally, receive less funding. Have you come across that report, and what's your take on that?
So it has to do with confidence, okay? Men and women are fundamentally different. The program I just ran this week was by a company, and was funded by Construction Kaiser, and that's what they told me how they didn't qualify, but they came all the same. A woman will never do that, okay? Somebody else didn't apply because he was 1 year above the age limit. And so he told his wife to apply. The wife applied and was selected. Most men project more confidence. And in business, people buy first into your confidence before they buy into your idea. But I think that is changing with the number of, look at what Funke Okweke is doing with Mainwall. Yeah, Obama Johnson was our tech minister. So I think that stereotypes are gradually breaking, okay, and we've got to move with the reality. It will take time, but it's already happening. When you have both men and women thinking about something, you get a more comprehensive and holistic view, and you arrive at better solutions. So when you have if you have only men or only women thinking about it, then there's going to be a gap in the quality of the decisions that are taken. Okay, so eventually, I guess that, in fact, look at the banking industry. There are now more female MDs, and there are more and more female board chairs. It's not because they're in support of women. They have actually seen that, women are more detailed and probably make better leaders than men. Okay, but doesn't mean we don't need the men. We need both.
Ali and Henrietta, the situation around young people who may say Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of school, Bill Gates dropped out of school, even though Mark went back to complete his education. What would you have to say to that mindset? Let's end on that.
So the fact, anybody who is following Bill Gates will know that he's a big reader, okay? What do you do in school? You get educated, okay? So school is not the only way to get educated, but education is it's not inevitable, but it's compulsory, okay? You can't go anywhere without education. And I'm actually one of those who believe that, you can get education in different places, not only in school, but you must educate yourself. That's fundamental. And even those who don't go to school need those who go to school to help them grow, okay? Look, that's a good example. It's one of the wealthiest men in Nigeria. He didn't go to school, not because he chose not to, out of poverty, but he gets advice and works. Those who went to school work for him, okay? But he also went back to school because he realized that he had to be literate. He had to understand to a large extent what was going on in his business. But he was humble enough to ask those who go to school to come in and help him. So I would say to people, what is important is relevant education, okay? And I think that it's beginning to happen. Here we at LBS also focus on giving you relevant education. And I think the African Leadership University also does a good job of that, in the sense that for admission, you have to say what problem you want to solve, and then that's the admission, that's the basis for admitting you, to help you be able to get the knowledge required to solve that problem. at LBS we teach you the same as well. So the world is gradually moving to relevant education, and I think that the only thing is I think that the speed can be faster.
And thank you for being on the show today. All the best.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. Cheers.
As you've heard from the Lagos Business School Director of MBA Programs, Dr. Henrietta Onwebuzie, achieving startup success also depends on how equipped you are with the right kind of business knowledge. But in my opinion, the academia definitely has to tweak their mode of teaching if we have to see more synergy between the academia and the ecosystem. We've come to the end of the show, but it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. Check out the show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.